Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 2. Hope that you all are having a good week. Just a few things I want to touch base on real quick before we talk about chapter 3. And so, first of all, I wanted to point out I have both email and course messages accessible to you in Blackboard. And I've had trouble with email in the past, a year ago or so. Had some situations where I would send an email out of Blackboard and students would reply to me to that email and I would never receive their responses. So um, I went all of last year without using email out of Blackboard. And I prefer email over the course messages, honestly. So I'd like to try it again, but wanted to make you aware if I'm not responding to an email that you're sending me from Blackboard, please know that I probably am not seeing it and try to reach me another way. But hopefully they've worked out the glitches. I hope so. So there's that. Regarding your groups, I've loaded out into the resources folder, into the group project folder, an overview of what needs to go into your final report. And apparently that wasn't showing for you until just here a couple days ago. So check that out. My thought with the team profile form was that you could be um, communicating with your group members and having a preliminary plan for how you were going to organize the work related to the project. That may change, I know, but I really wanted y'all to start talking about the project early in the term. Every term it happens that we get to the end of the term, the last couple weeks, and somebody can't get a hold of their group or isn't sure what part they're supposed to do, or there's just confusion. And so I'm hoping to preempt anything like that this term. There's a Dropbox in the week 2 folder for you to submit your forms to. Please submit a form, a team profile form, even if you are doing the project by yourself. And it's worth 10 points to you to communicate that to me to let me know that you're intending to work on the project alone. So go ahead and submit it either way. First exam is this week. It'll open on Thursday, tomorrow, and you'll have until Monday to complete it. I believe it's only 50 points. This is different for me this term to have more exams for you during the course of the term, and I'm doing this on purpose because I want you to have the feedback early into the term that you're on the right track with the material or that you may be missing something. I just don't want it to get too far into the term and have you feel like you're not sure what's expected. So we're going to do this exam. Don't stress about it too much. It'll just be over the first couple chapters, kind of a touch base and reality check for where you're at with the book and the chapter assignments. I wanted to point out too, a number of students are waiting on their textbook, and so I've loaded a copy of chapter 2 out under the resources folder in Blackboard, and I've extended the deadline for chapter 2's assignment to I think I put it to the 11th. So just be aware that we have that overlapping exam 1 too. So it's a lot to cover first couple weeks, but we're going to give this a shot and see how we do. All right, so let's talk about chapter 3 real quick. So in chapter 3, here we are starting to address the first phase in the new product development process, opportunity identification and selection. And really, this chapter is approaching that concept with a strategic view in mind. So keep that in mind as you're reading through the chapter. The chapter presents 3 areas that are inputs to that strategic process, and it also talks about portfolio analysis. So those are the major topics for this chapter. I do want you to understand the concept of developing a platform for your product offerings as a company. That is a strategic approach, having a modular approach to how you put your products together. Also, it's strategic to think about where you're going to look for your opportunities and those avenues that you have available to you to develop for new product concepts. And then finally, the major focus of this chapter is the Product Innovation Charter, the PIC. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute. With respect to the portfolio analysis, keep in mind that if it's your company and you are in charge or trying to lead the effort to develop new products, um, it is important for you strategically to keep in mind that you have a pipeline going here and you're going to be bringing new products along over the years. And so in the end, you want your collection of product offerings to be um, to make sense for where you're going with your company. And so to lead that effort from the top and to have a good fit for your products is important. It's also important that you have a way to evaluate all of these new products coming through the pipeline to make sure you're capitalizing on the best ideas, the best opportunities, and that you have some sort of a process to do that. And so the chapter presents to you a number of ways that different companies do that. In the end, they're going to give you some idea of the riskiness of the different options available to you. So take a look at those different models and try to think about, if you were the guy in charge of spending money for this project versus this project, what are you going to do? How are you going to decide where to put your company's efforts and your team's efforts? So that's what that's all about. Okay, so getting back to the PIC. We'll wait for our screen to change here. All right. So again, the Product Innovation Charter is something that you can develop as leadership in your company to give your product development team some guidelines or some direction for what to pursue for new products and really what you're trying to accomplish with them. The Chapter 3 spends quite a bit of time and attention to the PIC to tell you pretty specifically what you're putting in each section, how you go about writing this document, and why it's important. And so that is really the big focus of this chapter. So the 4 sections of the PIC, first of all, we're talking about background information that you can make available to your team. In other words, what did you find in your situation analysis or in your scanning of the environment that is leading you to think that you need this new product? Why are you developing this strategy? What are you trying to accomplish with it? And so then you're giving your group some background history here that may be helpful to them. Again, it's a little loosey-goosey because it's going to differ between companies, between industries. What would go in that section will be very particular to the scope of the current project that you're dealing with or the current need in your company. But background is the first section. Okay, so for the second section here, it's a little more specific. In this section, you want to speak specifically to the market you're wanting to pursue and the technology you're wanting to employ to reach that market. So technology doesn't have to just be computers. It can just be referencing a particular capability or a particular company strength that you have that you want to try to leverage. So those are the things that go in the focus section. And then regarding the goals section, the third section here, these are longer term objectives, and they're generally going to relate to profit objectives, growth objectives, or market status. So really keep that in mind when you're drafting what you think would go into a goals section, okay? Profit, growth, market status. And finally in section 4, these are any sort of guidelines that you can offer to your team, rules of the road. If you look in the book, they actually have some discussion about the different sorts of things that may go into this section, but they might be related to the amount of innovativeness you're looking to leverage, particular timing issues, could be particular budget issues, just anything that may be a guideline that you need to offer to your group. So again, it's specific to the particular project at hand, what may go into this. And that's all I want to say right now about Chapter 3. I know that's a pretty quick overview. So if you're having questions, let me know. I hope that the assignment for Chapter 3 will give you some opportunity to play with this a little bit. And y'all have a good week. I'll talk to you.